Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this Wednesday's MBE Movie News. I am John Christopher Walsh, as Stephen, fellow movie burner, likes to title me at the start of the joint movie news shows. But I'm on my lonesome again here, guys, and I'm here, as ever, as I do on these movie news shows, to speak about all of the latest goings-on in the world of film, and probably more specifically Hollywood today, because, to be quite frank, there's not much happening over here in the United Kingdom, or further afield for that matter. Not that I have read of anyway, but look, as you have seen in that thumbnail, if you've clicked on it, and if you haven't, then I'm speaking to myself, and that's a tragedy in and of itself. But if you have clicked on it, then you'll see that I'm once again discussing the possibility of Black Widow, and Disney perhaps choosing to delay this movie further afield into an unknown point in time. And this is coming in from Empire, this article that I have chosen to use as a source. In truth, it's just been used as a loose guide to sort of frame the conversation that I want to have, and even now I can't even get it to open up because, you know what, the actual light that I'm using in the room is blocking my vision. But look, it's just getting used as a sort of a guideline, a rough guideline, and as you can see, this god-awful website that is Empire, I can't, in any sort of scene that I have set up in Streamlabs, get this thing to work correctly. It just will not work. It's a horrendous shit show of a website, Empire. But look, they have been saying it's James White. Apparently he's a man who knows his stuff, and he writes for Empire, and he says that with the movies that are out just now in the theatres, like so of the New Mutants, and of course Christopher Nolan's Tenet, not performing to expectations, certainly over in the States, and with the money coming in not being what was projected by the major studios, in this case of course Disney and Warner Brothers, they are perhaps looking, it is being rumoured, to move this movie into maybe a more secure point down the road, perhaps in 2020, maybe in 2021, just to solidify the potential box office grossings that's going to be made for this movie. And look, whilst I am using it as a slight sort of guideline to frame the actual meat and bones of the headline topic, I can't disagree with James White here and what he's saying for the reasons behind this potential delay of Black Widow. Because it would be madness to put this movie out into theatres just now in the midst of a global pandemic. It would be madness looking at what Tenet's doing, a much bigger and more anticipated movie, to put it out and expect to get your money back. It is just not going to make the money that it would have made out with a pandemic situation. Tenet, in a normal environment, would be making around $300 to $400 million by now. It's struggling to make $250. 2 weeks in, it's a huge release. So Black Widow would have its number up pretty damn quickly after releasing in theatres. That is why I can completely understand the rumours that are flying around. It doesn't surprise me that Disney are contemplating this delay. Do I think it will come out in 2020 though, as I've probably headlined the show with? And there you go, I'll bring the graphic up. I've just said it's a merry-go-round of release dates, because we really don't know what's going on here until it happens. You've seen it with Wonder Woman 1984 and Warner Brothers. It was rumoured. Next day it gets announced it's been delayed to Christmas. They says it's not got anything to do with Tenet. It's not going to affect June. It's just they've always eyed it as a potential holiday season movie. It's a shit show just now for movie releases. It's a real minefield because of rising cases of coronavirus in different territories around the world. And yeah, do I think it will come out in 2020? I'm not entirely sure. I can't lie. Things continue the way they're going over here in the United Kingdom and in the rest of Europe, we certainly ain't going to be watching Black Widow in a theatre in the next 2 months. It's not going to happen. We are going to have more lockdowns put down on various different countries in the European region. I don't know about the United States, how it's getting on. It may be that fates are sort of reversed, what we've seen with Tenet being delayed in the States, coming out last, and then it getting sort of sequentially released in various different countries around the world. It may be that it's reversed. The States is able to gobble up Black Widow in the theatres, whilst the rest of us can't get our hands on it until a later date. I don't know if they will release it in 2020. One thing I do know though, with the sort of 2020 hindsight now of looking at the performance of Disney's Mulan on Disney Plus with this premium service where you pay $29 or $20 or £20, whatever it is, to buy a movie, I'm absolutely certain that Black Widow will not be going to the streaming service. If they have any eyes for making back money on this movie, and it's, I think, a $200 million budget on this movie, $150-200 million. It cannot go on the streaming service. It can't, even for a ridiculously enlarged rental fee or purchase fee, you cannot have it get onto a streaming service and make a profit. So that ain't happening. So they are sort of tied with their hands behind their backs now into giving this a release in the theatres. And that, to me, really opens up one more possibility, and that's 2021, if this movie doesn't see the light of day this year. And it's putting the theatres in a sticky situation too, because obviously they are looking for big blockbuster movies to come out as soon as possible. They're looking for eyeballs to come into their complexes and watch movies, to give them a boost financially after 6 months, 5 months, whatever it was, of earning nothing. Diddly squat, if you like. So I think 2021 is the only real possibility now for Black Widow if they choose to delay it. And look, this is all just rumours. It's not official by any means. By all accounts, the company, Disney that is, still pushing ahead with posters sporting that October 28th, I want to say, release date over here, and November over in the States. They're still adamant at the moment that this movie is coming out in the next month and a half or so. So maybe they'll go ahead with it, and that will give the theatres a boost. Maybe the coronavirus will just die down. Lord knows it all. I think everyone hopes it does, and we can get back to a degree of normality. But I think that's it's Fantasyland stuff. But look, in a brief little interconnected sort of headline topic, a says merry-go-round continues. We have another interesting little topic connected to Disney and Marvel, the MCU, you could say. And it's all about Wandavision. And apparently, as you can see in that headline there, Disney Plus says that Wandavision is still coming this year. Now, I didn't even realise this movie was shot, or this TV show was finished. Production-wise, it was in post and ready to rock. I thought that it was still some things to be shot in it, like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and perhaps even Loki as well. So this intrigues me. This is a possibility, and I like what they're saying in the article as well. I'm not entirely sure which part of the article it is, but they are suggesting on Collider that this could be scheduled currently. That's Black Widow. I don't care about that. I spoke about that. It's scheduled for some time this year, and they're suggesting that it could come out as a sort of Christmas present, if you like, or holidays present, because I know some people get their panties in a twist over the use of Christmas now. I don't, but hey ho, different strokes for different folks and all that jazz. I would love this to come out in Christmas. It's not coming out in November, let's be honest, with The Mandalorian coming out late October. They will want that to have its own breathing space. And the way they release The Mandalorian, it's not binge fest all in one go. You can consume it as you like. They release it episodically, if I can get my tongue around it. And that means that there is going to be at least, I don't know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't know how many episodes we have in The Mandalorian. Maybe a month and a half. So that takes us right into November. So December, if it's coming out this year, is the only logical place that WandaVision can pop up in this calendar year. And look, I would love to see this coming out. I actually forgot that this was a possibility. So when I read this article, I thought, God damn right, I want to see this happening, because I am supremely excited about what they are going to do in this. And look, they go through the cast, and it's easy to forget just how stacked this cast is. You've got Randall Park in there again. I loved him in Ant-Man and the Wasp. You've got Kat Dennings in there. She was in the first 2 Thor movies. You have, of course, got Elizabeth Olsen in there, and just a whole array of possible secrets going to be getting revealed. We could see another version of Quicksilver popping up in this, the Evan Peters version, not the Aaron Taylor-Johnson version. That's been heavily rumoured. And it's really, really exciting how this is going to interconnect into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. How we are going to see little precursors to that movie and where that's going with Sam Raimi. I'm stupendously excited about this. I cannot wait to see. I don't even know what that means, incidentally. Stupendously excited. Just that, things rip off my tongue and I just go with it. 9 times out of 10, my tongue is ahead of my brain, guys, so you must forgive me. But yeah, I'm really excited for where this could go, man, and I'm really excited at the prospect of consuming this at some point over the course of the next 3 months or so. It's going to be damn exciting times, man, to be an MCU, Marvel, Disney fan in general, with Feige saying that to really be involved and enveloped in the world moving forward, you really have to be watching the TV shows as well. But look, guys, that's going to round up the brief-ish little headline topic, combined headline topic. Wandavision potentially coming out this year. Black Widow still being haunted by rumours of delays. Looks like it could be getting pushed to next year because it can't come out this year. It just can't, man. If they are worried about box office grossings, then nothing's changing in the course of the next couple of months. But I'm going to move on to the next topic. As you can see, we have spoke about this in the past. Me and Stephen. The rumours of a Super Mario movie, an animated movie being released. We spoke about how it may fare at the box office in light of the success of Sonic the Hedgehog, the surprise success of that movie, and perhaps inklings of a renaissance for video game adapted movies. Lord knows we've had an absolute shit show of video game adapted movies over the course of the last 30 odd years. So it's high time that we start getting some damn good ones coming out. And I feel like this direction that they're going with this Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Mario animated movie is the absolute correct one to do. For me, the reason why video game adapted movies tend to fall on their own swords, if you like, is because they get live action settings 9 times out of 10. They bring in actors who kind of look like it. It's all superficial. And they just try to do paint it by number, basic shit plots that never really pop. The video games 9 times out of 10 have better stories and meat and bones to the scripts for the video games than the actual movies. And that's why they ultimately fail for me. But look, you see here this quote. It's Illumination Studios who are going to be working in tandem with Nintendo to give us this movie. And that partnership right away, as I says, I feel it's the correct choice to go animated with this. You can't really do live action out and out. It'd be strange. It'd be like the god-awful 93 Mario movie once again, which was horrendously bad. I think it was 93. So this is great, and Illumination, unique art style, works perfectly for Super Mario for me. But look, I digress. Quote is there. Another way we are delivering Nintendo entertainment to a wider audience is with the Super Mario CG animated movie, which is scheduled for theatrical release in 2022. Production is moving ahead smoothly thanks to the collaboration between Chris Meledandri, the founder and CEO of Illumination, known for the Minions movies, and Nintendo's representative director and fellow Shigeru Miyamoto, who is serving as co-producer. The movie will be distributed worldwide by Universal Pictures, and they go on to say down below, and another fairly lengthy quote which I will read before I go off and give my opinion on this, and why I feel like 2022 is the best place for this movie with all the shenanigans going on just now. We have also already embarked on multiple other visual content expansion projects and are pursuing further opportunities. As we shared previously, the Super Mario movie is being financed by Nintendo as well as Universal Pictures, and we are actively involved in planning, development and production. Going forward, visual content expansion initiatives may not be limited to film. The scale of our project or of our investments will vary based on the type of project, but we will continue to invest into these entertainment expansion initiatives to increase the number of people who have access to our IP. And of course, what they are heavily hinting at here is what that little headline there on MovieWeb suggests. Super Mario movie coming in 2022. They are looking to expand out into further IPs and entertainment initiatives. And as they rightly suggest, the next logical step for that, not only could we have, I don't know, man, Donkey Kong movies for children and stuff like that, but The Legend of Zelda, it's just, it reeks of match made in heaven for a video game movie. It really does. It's got a sort of rich lore to it. It's a big expansive world, and the character's intriguing. Link, and he's sort of jack of all trades vibe to him, and almost like the Uncharted movie, which is going to be hitting the screen soon with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. You can add in a bit of action. You could have a live action movie. You could make it an animated. You can make it a hybrid like Paddington. Possibilities are endless. But look, man, this excites me, man. It really does, because with Illumination being in there and Super Mario being a rich and beautiful IP that's transcended generations now. I played it when I was a young boy, and I still play it to this day in various different incarnations. It's a match made in heaven, as I says. The visual element, not going down that terrible live action route. The story has to be absolutely right for this to pop, just like Sonic the Hedgehog. There was something neat about it. Ryan Reynolds being in there was a great choice. The guy that played his son was brilliant as well on it. I always forget his name. They got that hybrid nature correct, and you could do that with Mario too. We've seen it in the latest Super Mario Odyssey. There was degrees of live action interspersed with, not live action, but real life human figures interspersed with the cartoonish Mario in that game. So certainly not out with the realms of possibilities that you could do a Paddington's type movie with this. But what grabs my attention the most is the fact that we do have Miyamoto, the main man himself from Nintendo, working on this movie, really steering the creative choices that are being made for this movie, perhaps working on the story. That is something that's absolutely necessary. As I said before, the reason that so many video game movies fail is because they lack story. The story isn't handled correctly. People feel like they can just take the IP of the game, put it in there visually, and do whatever they want with the story, and it doesn't really matter, but it does. It's absolutely key that you handle the story correctly, that it remains faithful to what made the games so successful, and that will bring in the core demographic that loves the games. It will also, if it's done correctly, tick all of the demographics widely, like we see with Disney and whatnot. And that's why it's so important that Miyamoto stays in charge of the story. He knows the character, he knows the world, and if we can get something involving Bowser and Lord knows Princess Peach again, because that's what Mario's always, their games are always involved in that sort of same archetypal story. If we can get that working on a movie scale, then man, it could pop. It could be an absolute amazing movie. I don't know whether Legend of Zelda would happen afterwards. I think it would all be based on the success of this Super Mario movie in the end. But look, I'm certainly on board for it. I can't wait to see what Illumination, Universal and Miyamoto at Nintendo put together. The magic they can create. Hopefully they can foster something pretty special there. But look guys, I'm going to move on to another topic here. It's all about the late great Chadwick Boseman, and it's more about his fellow co-stars coming out and speaking very glowingly about the man, and just giving us a sort of little tribute about what he meant to them and how powerful and sort of inspirational a figure he was to the black community and just people in general, because I ain't black, but I was heavily inspired by this guy and what he brought in his all too brief time on this planet. But look, I'll bring it up. It's Samuel L. Jackson himself, and indeed Chris Evans has been speaking too, but I haven't got the quote from the bold Chris. But there you go, it's a very lengthy quote from the great Samuel L., and he says, "Yes, sudden to us all. I was trying to remember the last time I'd actually seen Chadwick, and I was talking to Zoe, our daughter, about it, and it was at the Captain Marvel premiere. We walked and we started talking about another project that I had hoped that we were going to work on. He was like, I'm sorry yo, I'm not going to be there, but I wish we were going to work together. We were talking about it, we had planned it for a while, and it was, it's gut-wrenching, it's to lose someone that's such an important part of the culture in terms of what he became to the world with Black Panther. We all hope when we work that people will remember things that we will do. But he imprinted in society in such a way, impacted especially the black culture, and giving kids a hero that they could aspire to lose him. I don't even know if I could tell my kid that. It's devastating. I found that powerful. I found that tribute very, very powerful, and he's absolutely correct in what he says. He was a very inspirational guy, and he's left a firm, long-lasting impact on not just movies and his legacy within that, but on the black community and on the world in general. My dog's killing me here. He's moving my mic stand. God damn you. You stretch away there while I do a show, Hawley. No problems, mate. But yeah, look, I completely agree with Samuel. That is the main game for these actors. That is why you've got to respect the guy and his choices in his career. He could have went off and done superficial roles and stuff like that, but he deliberately chose movies like 42, like Get On Up, and obviously Black Panther. Roles which would have lasting impacts, roles which would show and shine a light to younger people from the black community and minority communities in general, and show them that, look, the way forward is there. If you work hard enough, you apply yourself, you have a talent, you can absolutely do what I'm doing. And that's what's made his legacy all the more potent and so important for me. You have people coming and going, and actors in the acting game and just in life in general and sports and stuff like that, but the people who leave the lasting impacts the people that have done something special out with of the actual roles they've played and stuff like that. And that, as I says when we made a tribute to the man, is what struck me about him. The double-edged sword of the loss, because he is a guy who was really important and inspirational off the screen and on the screen. But look, Chris Evans was also speaking about him, and he says, it's tough. I think it kind of highlights the power he has. As Sam said, his cultural impact is immeasurable, not just as an artist, but as a man. It's heartbreaking, it's tough to process, but his impact, his legacy is solidified forever. And again, I completely agree with Chris Evans. And it's nice to see his co-stars coming out and all speaking so glowingly of him, and that he was genuinely a decent fellow. I couldn't get the absolute... I'm going to get into this briefly before I move on. I couldn't get my head around the idiots on social media harassing Elizabeth Olsen and other people who weren't coming out right away and giving tributes and speaking about the loss. It was so callous the way they were going after the actor, and in a sense forcing her off of social media. And I feel like these people should learn from guys like Boseman and how to act with humility, to act with grace, intelligence, eloquence. Put that into your life and stop being such little shitheads, man. But look, it's great to see the cast coming out and speaking glowingly of the man. Lord knows he had an impact on them as well, not just the actual fans of the man. But look, it's sad that the man's gone, and it's just great, as the Samuel and Chris Evans says, that he's leaving a long-lasting impact there, much like John Lennon and people that went before him. But look, guys, I'm going to move on, man. I'm starting to give it away, and that's dangerous when you're doing live shows on your own. There's always a danger that you go down the rabbit hole and you never come back, and I'm very close to doing it. So I'm going to move on to the now regular part of the show, which is the blog rundown, where I now go in and break down some reviews from my blog, and urge you, if you're watching, to go to our website at movieburnerentertainment.org/blog and give our array of amazing writers a little bone. Fling them a bone, guys, and read the reviews, because they are fantastic. And look, we do get a decent amount of traffic going through the website anyway, but look, the more the merrier and all that jazz. And I'm going to start off this blog rundown today by jumping on in to not that one there, sorry, jumping on into the Grudge, which is the 2020 movie, of course, a horror movie. And this one has been reviewed by D.M. Anderson, the bold Dave, and he says, and I'm not going to read the whole review because that would be silly of me, that would totally defeat the purpose of doing this. You should go along and read the review yourself. He says none of it is particularly original, nor are there any ton of surprises. However, The Grudge makes nice use of its non-linear narrative to show the characters from each story are ultimately linked. It also features a strong cast that includes a variety of familiar actors such as John Cho, Damien Bulcher, and William Sadler and Frankie Faison, and also Lynn Shay as well. And he is going on to say, finally, the film more than earns. I'm going to try and bring up this trailer now, and it's not working for the life of me. I'm absolutely screwed here. It never works. And as I did say, he says that finally the film more than earns its R rating with some nasty bits. It's absolutely screwed here. I don't know why this happens every time I try to bring trailers up. It ends. Annoying as hell. It's R rating. I'll get back to it. With some nasty bits of bone-breaking, blood-spattering violence, though I could have done without seeing a child murdered by her own mother. The Grudge isn't a great film. A reasonable argument could be made that it isn't even a good one, but since I was expecting neither, it was certainly watchable enough. While bringing nothing new to the franchise or horror in general, the film is efficiently assembled and doesn't water down the mayhem for the mall rat crowd. And look, that is very intriguing, because look, I recall the trailer for this movie, and yeah, I avoided it, much like Dave I think initially did, just purely because it was the fourth instalment in an established horror franchise, and it wasn't a franchise that really excited me all that much. I think I perhaps watched the first one, and he's right what he says earlier on in the review. It's almost like a parody of The Ring. It's regurgitating things that came from that Japanese horror movie. And it never really done it as well as The Ring either. And what he says there intrigues me though, because I'm of a similar sort of frame of mind when I watch movies. If I'm not expecting much from it, and it gives me something I wasn't expecting, be it unpredictability or just something in the way of a performance, perhaps from a William Sadler or something, then it intrigues me on some level or another, and it makes it maybe a little bit more enjoyable than it would be if it was something I was excited for. Because you almost expect, there's an expectancy when a movie's coming out and you're looking forward to it. If you're not expecting anything, and sometimes the thrill of getting something you perhaps weren't expecting is almost all the sweeter than if it was shit or if it was brilliant, and it's just somewhere in between. But look, guys, we're going to move on to the next, and I'm completely screwing it again, too many macros, to the next review on today's blog rundown. It's not this week, we're doing it daily. I'm getting back into the pre-COVID-19 days when we used to do a weekly blog rundown. Come to Daddy is the film, and it is D.M. Anderson once again reviewing it. And look, this is a very intriguing sounding movie as well. It's got the bold Elijah Wood in there, a man who I thoroughly enjoy. I can never remember that movie. Stephen actually reviewed it. The one where he is playing a neighbour's in trouble, and he plays this strange sort of guy. I remember that movie, and Stephen speaking about it. And yeah, he's such a wacky guy at times, Elijah, but he's such a talented actor too. And it's nice to see that he's delving into the horror genre, although not as a sort of killer figure. He is playing a protagonist in this, by all accounts. And as you can see, David says in the conclusion at the bottom, not a horror film per se. Come to Daddy is sometimes very horrific, but the wince-inducing violence is tempered by clever black comedy, which I love. And while occasionally shocking, it never feels gratuitous. The plot itself unfolds like something the Coen brothers would concoct during a drunken binge. That's something that sounds right up my street. Big fan of the bold Coen brothers. I'm going to try and bring up the trailer in a way that's not even remotely forced. You know, you can tell it's just organic the way I'm putting this show together here. It's not hard at all to bring all these macros together. But I digress. Wood makes a sympathetic protagonist, though he can do this type of role in his sleep. But McHattie, and especially Martin Donovan, whose role I wouldn't dream of revealing, steal every scene they're in. It's going black. What's going on here? What is going on? Why do these trailers always go to the end when I click on them? God almighty, they kill me. There you go, you see Elijah in the water, sporting a moustache. Best of all, the entire film is completely unpredictable, blindsiding the viewer with one surprise after another. Again, unpredictableness, something I enjoy. Come to Daddy is loaded with plot twists, none of which I saw coming, without any pesky red herrings, twisted and brutal, but also frequently funny. The film is consistently engaging for thrill seekers looking for something different. This sounds right up my street, man. I've not heard of the movie, I can't even begin to lie that I have. But look, I love the ingenuity of that actual poster there too. I'm going to bring it up and show you it because it's so cool. The fact that we have whiskey, I'm a whiskey man myself, but it looks like there's contorted figures masquerading as ice in the glass as well. So such a cool and intriguing little poster there, and we see Elijah's got top billing. Love the signature heavy sort of logo too. It's an intriguing concept, man. I like Elijah Wood, as I did say there. He's a great actor. He's got such a unique face as well, and he brings something different in most movies that he's in. He's a man who doesn't get pigeonholed into the one sort of genre like a Hugh Grant in the 90s. And this doesn't intrigues me, man. I like the sort of horror movies that are not horror movies, that have unpredictableness, and I like the twisting revelation sort of things that are going on in this. So this is something that I would definitely give a bash. And I highly urge you to go and read Dave's review, because it's certainly caught my fancy, and it's purely down to the bold Dave himself actually reviewing the movie. But can you see me trying to change the tab onto the final movie in the blog rundown? I need to get a new setup, guys. This camera is killing me, and these lights are killing me, and that goddamn YouTube is killing me too, man, by moving the trailers to the end. But look, I'm going to round it up, as you can see, with the perfection. It's reviewed by Peter Plowmers, and I recall reading or speaking even about this movie, perhaps, I want to say about a year ago or something. I'm pretty sure someone else reviewed this movie, and we watched the trailer for it, and it did look alluring. I have to say, it looked slightly unnerving in parts, like there was a sinister tone going on underneath. But look, I have read Peter's review, and apparently it's a very borderline erotic movie. It's got elements of eroticism in there. And he says at the bottom there, as you can see, once this introduction took place and the two lovebirds, I'll not read that because that's actually giving away elements of the plot. I'll try and go through this quickly, bring up the trailer and not spoil the movie for people who perhaps want to either read the review or watch the movie itself. There's nothing actually negative to announce. You can safely state that the two main characters almost reach perfection when it's about that. The chemistry between the two girls is realistic. The different moods that they struggle through are convincing. Steven Weber and Elena Huffman also fit perfectly into their roles. I'm going to try and play this, incidentally, this trailer, and just let it play in the background. There you go, the perfection. Huffman also fit perfectly in their roles, an illustrious couple consisting of dark personalities. Perhaps it seems as if they have mixed a number of different genres, and it feels as if they don't know, or they didn't know which direction to go. But it never gets boring. The perfection is certainly not perfect, but it wasn't far from perfection either. I like what we've done there. What is going on? Here we go again. The trailer ends abruptly. I'm going to cut the trailer element out of the blog rundown from now on. It's an absolute disaster. It doesn't work. Sadly, it works in theory, but when you actually try to implement it, it doesn't work, man. But look, this sounds, and I'd recall reading about it and hearing about it previously. I've still not had a chance to give it a bash yet, but it looked an interesting little watch. I liked the concept of the cellos. Being a classical music man myself, I love Strauss and everyone in between. I love cellos, I love the sound of them. Been to many classical musical concerts in my life. And yeah, there's nothing like that sort of low melancholic ring that a cello gives you. It's beautiful. And having just watched Tenet, Lord knows you get lots of cello action at the start of that movie and violin. So I like that already. That's got me hooked. The fact there's cellos in there, the fact there's two good looking girls in there as well, and there's some erotic shit, and that's a nice little superficial Brucey bonus. As Peter also says in his review, that's not my thoughts, that's the thoughts of Peter. So that's interesting. You add in horror elements, sinister tones, and a reveal of something not being quite right at this institution that's been teaching these people how to play the cello, and you've got me hook, line and sinker. I will give this a bash, man. For sure. But look, that is going to round up the briefest of brief little descent into the blog rundown, guys. If you want, I was fighting to find a word there, couldn't you tell? If you want to read any of these reviews, and indeed a whole array of other reviews, not just from Peter and Dave, but from Stephen Wilkins and the movie couple, Jerry and Elizabeth, I want to say, and also my good self and Stephen and fellow movie burner Kevin, then you can go on to the blog rundown, as I did say at the start, at movieburnerentertainment.org/blog, and you will find yourself with so many movie reviews that you don't know what to do with yourself. You can go in and just envelop yourself in a whole array of different films, blockbusters, indies, everything in between, guys. Foreign language movies, I have delved into them many, many times before. So pop over to the blog and give that a bash. But look, guys, I'm going to move on to the very next topic on the show. I'm going to be rounding the show up shortly, incidentally. I may very well cut out James Gunn again. There's been two topics I have cut out of the previous two shows regarding Kevin Feige visiting the set of the Suicide Squad. James Gunn is now extending an invite to the DCEU directors. And it was an excuse to bring up Kevin Feige going to the Suicide Squad, and I may not meet the cut again, so I may just get it off my chest now. Very happy that Kevin Feige is visiting DCEU movies. I'm very happy that there's that fraternity behind the scenes, that the fans and the sort of tribalistic bickering between Marvel and DC, it doesn't envelop, or not, I keep using the word envelop, it doesn't find its way into the actual filmmakers. They don't care about it. It's all fraternity, and they respect and appreciate what each company's doing behind the scenes, the brilliance they're bringing to the screen. And look, it's great that James Gunn is sending out an invite to the DCEU too. That's nice to see that he is allowing them to come onto the set of Guardians Volume 3 when it gets shot. But look, guys, that's done. I'm going to move on to No Time to Die. I've got it out of my system. So this is now the final topic on tonight's show. And as you will probably see when I feel compelled to actually bring up the topic, and Lord knows I'm struggling to see it. There you go, I'll bring it up. It's coming from Cinema Blend, I want to say. And they're saying that No Time to Die has doubled down on 2020 release with a new poster. I'm actually trying to find the poster. And there it is there. It's a very nifty looking little poster, simplistic. Some would say I like the sort of effect of the logo. And one Daniel Craig looks like he's holding a suppressed assault rifle. And looking dapper while doing it, as ever. Yeah, they're doubling down, as you can see. They say it there, November 2020. And if they were even remotely having any inklings of pushing this movie off further into the year, then Lord knows they would have to be showing signs of putting that into fruition by now. We are now into mid-September. It's getting a little bit too late to push this movie, guys, unless something truly horrendous is on the horizon with coronavirus. And I'm excited about this movie, more so than ever, having gone to the theatre, recently to see the trailer again and being infused by the amazing cinematography, the brilliant score. Some of the action sequences are fantastic, and I am supremely intrigued to see what Rami Malek is bringing. Is he going to be Safin or whatever he's called, or will he be Dr. No? This movie's got me the anticipatory juices are flowing. There you go, I'll get my little comment in that I like to use all the time. And I hope they do hold steadfast and that I get a chance to go to the theatres and watch this movie, because I loved that last trailer. And yet, Lord knows, cinema needs another big blockbuster movie this year. We can't go from Tenet in October all the way through, not Tenet in October, Tenet in August, all the way through to October, November time without a movie, man, and then have No Time to Die coming out. We can't have it, man, because of course we've lost Wonder Woman 1984. There's talks of Black Widow perhaps getting moved, as I did say at the start of the show. So we really need another big blockbuster movie to come in at some point before Christmas time and help the cinema companies get to the end of the year, man, and actually exist further afield into 2021 and beyond. If they don't get those movies coming out, man, they're going to go out of business. It's just that's the reality of the situation, and that is why I can't understand people bitching off about others going to see movies in theatres, bitching off and glorifying the apparent lack of success at the box office for Tenet. Do these people want the cinema going experience to die? I certainly don't. There's no time to die, and that's why No Time to Die has to come out in theatres this year in November, and that's why I'm excited for the prospect, and I hope it happens, guys. But look, I'm done. That topic was a little filler topic to get me into the James Gunn one. I've cut the James Gunn one out, so that's going to round the show up, guys. What is your thoughts on the topics I spoke about today on the show? What do you make about this potential delay for Black Widow? Is it something you think is going to happen? When do you think this movie can come out? Do you think it can come out later this year in a very congested holiday period? Do you think it can come out next year? Do you think they will have the balls to do a Mulan and release it on a streaming service, even if it does lose money? $200 million perhaps. What do you make about WandaVision? Is that something you see coming out this year on Disney Plus? Lord knows they're saying it will come out. And are you excited for it? What do you make about a Super Mario animated movie from Illumination Studios, Universal and Miyamoto at Nintendo? Is that something you think has potential to succeed? What do you make about the glowing tributes of Chris Evans and Michael, Jesus Christ, man, I seen Jackson, I'm thinking Michael Jackson, Samuel Jackson and Chris Evans talking about Chadwick Boseman? Is it something that you agree what Samuel says about the man that has a long-lasting impact? Will probably super exceed what he done on the actual screen, what he's done for the black community and just minority communities in general, making them feel like they can achieve greatness if they put their mind to it. Is that something you agree with? What do you make about the blog rundown? Movies that I touched upon, Grudge, and obviously the Come to Daddy, and finally The Perfection. Finally, what do you make about No Time to Die? Do you think it should hold its 2020 release in November? If you've got anything to say at all, you can comment below and let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this in the future, guys. And if you do, you'll see me tomorrow again for movie news, if I can find anything to speak about. And you'll see me for reactions, and later on, perhaps in a couple of weeks' time, you'll see Stephen back for movie reviews as well. But look, until then, guys, bye-bye.